Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
Okay. Episode 29, June 10th, 2020. Halfway done through 2020. It cannot come sooner.
Holy shit. Yeah, welcome to episode 29. We are still pieces of garbage.
Yes. Black Lives Matter movement still going on. Still protests in New York. It's not as crazy as it once was the last week. Still going on. Quick stuff. Should have talked about this before. Did we message Requiem for his shirt?
Yep. Congrats, Requiem, for winning. And I messaged him. Messaged them. Yeah, shirt coming soon.
So
go ahead.
Oh, go.
I was going to say post office is a bit sketchy, but yeah, it will be on its way shortly.
Quick tangent. Everything is sketchy. I've been waiting for sneakers. I know, first world problems for weeks.
Yeah, everything is for some reason arriving in July that I ordered in February.
Yeah.
Like what's happening in July that things are going to start arriving? I don't know.
Weird flex, but I ordered something from Apple and I've been waiting like 3 weeks for it to like get shipped, and they just charged me. So,
wow.
Yeah. So with what's going on, and it's Pride Month. Congratulations, claps all around. Pride Month. Pride is canceled this year, the parade, but we wanted to celebrate ish some way. So for movie night this coming Monday, which is, I will tell you now, the 15th of June, we're going to be watching Moonlight.
Such a good movie. Can't wait to watch it again. Yeah, just one more thing I wanted to mention before we jump into talking about video games is just register to vote, you know. Happy Pride Month. Make your vote count.
Let's not get too meta, but your old stomping grounds pulled some fuck shit the other day.
Which?
Georgia.
I'm from a few places. Yeah. Oh my God, Georgia.
Yikes. Projecting. Anyway, how was your week?
Okay. I mean, I think we're all just hanging on to okay, but yeah, intense. But Animal Crossing is again a lifesaver. Nice little escape. Little brain break. But yeah, that's pretty much my week. Not much has changed.
Yeah, same. Not much has changed here. I did make some big boy purchases for the PC.
Oh yeah? What'd you get?
Quick rant. I reused RAM from my old PC, and I just wanted 32 gigabytes. So I just bought another set of the same RAM. Anybody knows AMD or whatever, you get blue screens every so often when I turn on my PC, and that is absolutely tilting and annoying.
Yeah.
So I wanted 32 gigs, but I wanted to run it in dual channel. So a deal, I'm doing quotes. It's not a deal at all. It was like $240 for like B-die RAM, which is like the best RAM available, 32 gigs or whatever. So I got that. Finally bit the bullet on that. Other than that, I've just been hanging out at home as usual. Cruising the online dating scene. Kill me. Animal Crossing. I made big strides in my island, or at least one part of it. And I'm kind of burning out on it because it's a lot of fucking monotonous crafting and placing shit and things. Okay, why is there not a tool selector like Stardew Valley where you're going to place shit in the game? Nintendo, why?
Yeah.
You know how many times I've placed the tree in the wrong spot and all of them can't fit? Oh my God, it's so tilting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, there's really nothing to do in Animal Crossing other than like the wedding stuff, which I have no interest in. Um,
Yeah, not interested in the rewards. Me either.
yeah, I mean, like that game is not something that I don't get the collector itch in that game. Gotta catch them all or whatever.
Well, yeah, I see how some people do. They want all the sets of the seasonal items because it's going to go away. But I don't like you create your own games in the game. Like I don't know, making sprite paths or my squid room, just like collecting squid for weeks and weeks. I feel like you create your own kind of things to do.
I'm not really sentimental though, so I feel like that doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? Like it would have to give me some advantage in some way for it to like matter in games specifically.
Like I'm happy with my like little pink TV. I haven't ever seen another TV like it. I think someone gave it to me, or no, I think my shop sold it one day. And do you have a TV? Like, do you leave yours on in game?
Yeah, I have like 3 TVs, wall-mounted ones.
Yeah, I think it's just funny just the like little Japanese Animal Crossing TV. I just think it's cute. So I don't. It's like wanting certain items, like being happy that when I see them, or just because how many freaking items are in this game?
A lot. Some stuff I haven't even seen. I just got the PC in the game maybe like a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Just got the 50-inch. I don't know if there's a bigger TV than that. I didn't bother to look, but the wall-mounted 50-inch, and then there's a 20-inch version. So I have a TV in almost every room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe there's like maybe the wiki can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
I just keep getting cardboard recipes, and I'm like, all right.
Is that from the beach?
No, my Patty. Patty keeps giving me cardboard recipes, and I just keep giving her face masks to cover up with. Like, give her paper bag, spa face mask. Just she won't wear any of them. Keeps giving me shit recipes.
Patty needs to go. Canceled.
She likes me. Sends me postcards.
So yeah, I reinstalled Path of Exile. It broke. I didn't create a new character though. I've been playing old characters that I had. So, baby steps, I guess.
Yeah.
But we were going to talk about this last week, but as you know, the whole thing got axed because of what happened last week. So they unveiled the league, and it looks like Farmville just plastered in that bitch. Interesting. I might play it because they're slowing the game down. Because the game becomes like this like ADHD session of like zoom, 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 fast, fast, fast.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you get lost in the sauce when that happens. I'm excited. What's gonna make or break it for me though is the patch notes. Patch notes are huge.
When's that?
3 days before the league, and I don't even know when this shit comes out. It's like 9 days or something like that.
Huh.
Maybe like the 18th. I'll tell you right now, 8 days and 22 hours, 6 minutes, and counting. Yeah, I just have to accept the fact that I'm addicted to ARPGs. That's like my game or whatever. But I have been playing Call of Duty still, keeping up with the Zoomers, trying to at least.
Is it Rage inducing?
For me, yes.
Yeah.
But I always get mad at bullshit in games anyway.
I
don't know what it is. Maybe that has like some personal shit. I don't know. When bullshit happens in video games, it just kind of like lights my fucking fuse, and I'm just like over it.
Mm.
I think I alt F4'd maybe 5 times. I don't remember the last time I alt F4'd in a fucking game
Do
after
you
being
see
so
hacking?
mad. Maybe
Hacking or cheating or
not blatant cheating. That maybe like one guy was like really suspect.
botting somehow or
Feel like aimbotting. Maybe he
yeah.
was suspect, or he could have been a god. Who knows? I don't know. But I hate that game by and large. I just play it because my friends play it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, your game got a new update.
Yeah, Deep Rock Galactic.
Yes.
Is that what we're talking about? It's a good game.
So they launched. We talked about that. They kept the price, which is dope. They really could have like bumped it up maybe like $10 or so.
Yeah, $10 for sure.
But yeah, they basically put their first update out and put some stuff in that they cut for the launch. And then like bug fixes and stuff. And people, I mean, hey, this game is like, it's still overwhelmingly positive
Mm-hmm.
for the most part.
Yeah, even in still early access and in the betas. Great game. Good community. They reward their community too, just with in-game things. Events. And they came up with a new, like, you could pledge to a certain like group. Like there were 3 within the community. And it was a little competition. Like Destiny did that one time, just, who could get the most points. And then you'd get a reward. Just
Okay.
something little.
We're going to talk about Destiny next. I have some thoughts.
Speaking of,
Yeah, so we went from a good PvE co-op game. We're going to talk about a bad one now. Destiny 2. Where do I even fucking start? So, okay. I bought Shadowkeep, the deluxe edition, and it came with 4 season passes. For the little battle pass things. I only completed 1 of them. The rest of them, I have not completed.
not interested.
I mean, we'll talk about that in a second. So, they had a live event in the game. I have it recorded on my computer.
Okay.
What a slow burn. That shit took like an hour and a half to finally fucking happen. For maybe like 2 minutes of things happening. And then you go to some crash site or whatever. And then you pick up an emblem. That's it. It's over. Nothing else. Maybe some dialogue or whatever from 2 characters. And that's it.
It's
It's like,
just retrieve a thing,
yeah.
drive around, pick up a thing.
I thought about this after the event, and then Tuesday they unveiled some stuff and a new season came out. I've been playing it lightly, not going super hard. I have nothing to play. I want your opinion on this. I have mine.
I didn't watch the stream. I mean,
It has nothing to do with any of that.
I read quick coverage of it, and yeah, I don't really have an opinion besides like, yeah, Destiny stream. I just didn't even think to watch it.
It has nothing to do with that. In my opinion, Destiny and Bungie have gone from producing a AAA game to basically creating early access previews as seasons.
Aren't they bringing Destiny 1 content back?
Yes, in little droves. But they said that it wouldn't come back fully, like as like Destiny 1. But they did confirm that Vault of Glass was coming back and that the Cosmodrome was coming back. I'm like, dude, y'all are reaching.
You knew this day was coming, though.
Of course, yeah.
Vault of Glass, man, that raid.
The best one in the game. Well, the whole game's history.
Yeah, maybe the best part of the whole game.
But I think most of that doesn't that like tie to nostalgia? You know what I mean?
Sure, because of the drops and the teamwork it took.
Yeah, Forever 29. You need one piece and you can't get it.
Yeah, you'd get stuck at certain light levels. Those were the good days, running like 100 vault of glasses with your clan, trying to get one person the fucking fate bringer.
Oh, I love that. So do you think a developer can produce enough content for a game in, let's say, a 3-month time span that people won't burn out on? Do you think that's possible? For a live game, not a regular game, a live game.
I was going to say, well, look at Animal Crossing. They're doing great.
But Animal Crossing is, I would consider, a slower paced game. And there's time gates basically built into it, especially if you could definitely play it as intended, or you could blow through it, skipping days and shit like that.
Well, they're events. They're new content releases. And it remains replayable. Like, I still have a bunch of eggs. I can, whenever I want, craft some shit.
We can't classify those two as the same type of game, right? Like Destiny is an FPS that's a little bit more faster paced. It has a little bit more nuance to it, I think. I'm going for.
Okay.
But
yeah. So I don't know, to answer your question. If
the problem with Destiny is that, like, it's not a Destiny problem, I don't think. It's an industry wide problem. And it's these buzzwords that people say in these trailers that want you to buy into the hype, and then when you play it, it's never as intended. But I think I've been looking at it differently now, because before I would try to, like, I first of all, I hate time gates. I hate it so much because I'm the type of person that wants to fucking plow through everything and get to the very end. But Destiny is not the same game that it was 6 years ago or 5.5 years ago.
definitely not.
Yeah, a lot of things have changed. The gaming industry has changed a lot. Thank you, Fortnite.
Well, Destiny's biggest change, in my opinion, was them listening directly to the community complaining that they couldn't do end game content. Casual players would never be able to have the same feeling as these veteran or just more committed somehow players. And so Bungie or Activision listened to that and really changed the game and tried to make it so you could solo everything. I don't like it.
Yeah, but you could solo things in Destiny 1.
Yeah, but it was really difficult.
Yeah, I mean, Activision definitely tried to, like, they really were into the whole pussification of games, and I hate that. But you'll never make everyone happy.
Oh,
if you
for
make
sure.
something too casual, the hardcore sweaties won't be into it. And then if you do something like what they did with Trials of Osiris, where it was for the PvP hardcore sweaty people, even in regular PvP, skill-based matchmaking, people hate that shit, no matter what it is, because it's never a fun, casual game. It's always like sweat lords that are gonna, fucking ape you with a shotgun. Yeah, but I've taken a step back and looked at it like, in my opinion, this may change, and I could be wrong in 6, 7 months, 9 months. The only time it's worth getting into Destiny is when they have an expansion.
Yeah, new raid.
Right. These little season things don't do it for me. Because when I'm not having fun, and it's like I'm trying to clock in for the day to get my fucking season pass levels for my battle pass. I hate that shit. I
The
hate it.
events are so grind heavy too. They're a bit monotonous and repetitive. So, yeah, I don't blame you for not liking it. Not the greatest thing about the game.
And the biggest difference was for me in the beginning, doing things over and over again. It would always like there was always something new to discover because Destiny wasn't heavily data mined like it is now, because it was only on consoles at that time. People love to spoil shit, and to be fair, they've been, I guess, cordial with the spoilers or whatever. Like they're not gonna just sit there and spoil it like The Last of Us 2 for you because they're so angry. It just doesn't. It just lacks that replayability and like wonder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's always this one activity that you do, which I guess is fun for like maybe a week or so, and then you just kind of like fuck off.
Well, they took a lot of the RPG out of the game, and I agree. Like games need tweaking as time goes on, and economies need, uh, you know, adjusting and editing. But they really changed the RPG spirit of this side of Destiny. Just the drops, and I didn't like it.
They put it back in, to be fair, but
Okay.
they put a little bit of it back in, and there's only so much you could do within controller FPS type of thing. Like you have a little bit more control when it's like top down, like a Diablo, or like a ARPG with your skills or whatever, and how you interact with it. But I played it. I saw what they unveiled. They basically said, "Hey, until 2022, here's our roadmap of big ticket events or whatever." And I appreciate that. Um, we'll see. We'll see. Right now, I'm kind of like lukewarm about it,
Mhm.
but it just came out yesterday. I played a little bit of it. Didn't hate my life. Playing it casually. They usually give you one gun on the season pass. And previously it's been like meh because their exotics have been kind of meh ever since, Destiny 1 or whatever.
Yeah.
But the one that they just came out with was pretty cool. Not gonna lie. I think it's the best one.
Ever since they gave everyone a Gallahorn.
I don't think nothing will ever compete with that weapon in like lore, video game history, ever.
Badass.
That was
I would
Destiny.
still want one. Like they sell life-size replicas.
Do they?
Like yeah, for a while. And I'm like, man, I still want one. At conventions, Bungie loads them up with t-shirts and shoots them at people.
Wait, it's functional? What?
Yeah. Hello.
Looking at it. Hold on. $299? Does it come with fucking breakfast for a month? The fuck? Roleplay. It looks cool though. Did it have like a like toy gun safety type thing at the end, like orange little caution thing?
I don't know. Probably because toys have to have that.
This is
I wonder
cool.
if you could just paint it yourself.
This is really
Yeah,
cool.
but
I didn't even know they had this.
that was peak Destiny, doing grinding to get that gun, because every time you'd wait for the drops or you'd pick up your engrams or you'd open a chest, you knew that, it was like pulling a slot machine. So that kind of pure rush went away for me.
This thing is dope.
Like no whammies, no whammies, no whammies.
I wouldn't get the Gallahorn though. I would get the Thorn.
Yes.
That's my favorite gun from that game.
Me too.
So yeah, I'll report back in maybe a couple weeks or a month to see what they did and how royally they fucked up, or if they did not.
Okay. This is the end of the Destiny rant portion of the podcast.
Yeah. Nintendo Summer Sale popping up. Interesting. Not a lot of the bigger games are on sale though. None of the Zeldas, none of the Pokemans. Big Mario
Yeah.
games are not on. Luigi's Mansion's not on, which is surprising.
True.
Check
Needs
it
a little
out.
bit more. Needs a little bit more time. Perhaps Luigi's Mansion. Yeah, I looked at the list. There was like my friend Pedro and Dead Cells were on there. So if you're looking for a new indie, go through the list.
Yeah, there's a lot of indie ones. We were going to talk about this last week too, but Animal Crossing got dethroned by Minecraft Dungeons for, I guess, like a couple days. And it's back on top, number 1. I'm surprised.
Are you playing it?
Minecraft Dungeons? No. I would play that on PC, not on Switch.
Yeah. Okay.
Just for the mod's sake, just in case. You never know.
Steam sale coming soon. Prepare your wish list.
Yes. We don't know when it's going to come out, but it has to come out within like June, maybe early July. So just save your shekels, save your coins.
Yeah, run a sale on your OnlyFans. Start, preparing that bank account.
Triggered. TV time?
TV time, yay. I've been watching good TV.
Yeah, I was watching the Epstein doc. I can't get through that shit.
Not interested, thanks.
It seems like a fluff piece to me. You know what I mean? To like shift the blame on somebody. I'm not gonna get into it. But yeah, I saw like maybe like 1.5 episodes and I was like, I don't want to watch this shit.
It was a movie. Oh, yuck.
No, it's a series. 6
so it's
episodes.
Like true crime.
Yeah, something like that. It's like a documentary style thing or whatever. Yeah. If you could stomach that, kudos to you. I don't want to see that. So I started watching that. And then Space Force. You recommended. I've heard it before, but when you reminded me, I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna watch it."
Yeah,
I really like it.
It's good.
Steve Carell, a whole bunch of other people. Ben Schwartz is in there.
It's Steve Carell at his best, which is just a confident idiot.
His accent kind of bothers me though, a little bit.
But he's speaking that way, I think, as a satirical idea of like kind of mimicking how Trump speaks, which is just his own strange dialect with like intonations, and his cadence is so strange. So I think, I don't know, Carell's character reminded me of that. Just the a bit of a dumb person filled with hubris in a position of great power.
Yeah, it's like a caricature of like what's going on too. Like
100%. Yeah.
It's funny as hell.
Like, who are the people that get promoted in this presidency? Incompetent people over and over again. It's a revolving door. So Space Force definitely feels like that.
Yeah, some of the themes are ridiculous. It's not super long, so each episode is about 30 minutes. Palatable. You could stop it or binge it if you want. Like I watch.
Reminds me a bit of Avenue 5, the HBO space one where they get stranded on a space cruise. Just because it's space and the dumbness of humanity, somehow like the American spirit somehow prevailing in the end, even though they're constantly doing things against their own well-being, for like being really petty.
Yeah. It's beautifully shot though. You can tell that there's money behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is. They put money into it, I think, because of who made it. The guy behind Parks and Rec and The Office, two huge comedic shows, very popular, long running.
Yeah. One thing I forgot. I love John Malkovich.
Yes, he's very
so
funny.
good. He's so good.
He just is good. Yes.
He's worth it to watch the entire series because do you think he has a big part, right? So far?
Yeah.
He's like one of the mainstays in there, but his humor is like right up my alley. I really like his like
very dry.
his dry dead delivery of lines. It's so good. Yeah, check it out.
He's actually competent, so that's why. Like, he's very smart, but he's surrounded by idiots. So he just, the way he has to talk and like dumb it down and talk slowly and very, like, he puts a lot of emphasis on his words. They're all pointed and he's like, well, they're finally like, oh, we'll go with your idea, John Malkovich, the actual smart guy. Finally, they turned to a competent person in the department. Finally. And then after many failures and different, tries of plans that just epically failed. And so finally, John Malkovich is like, yes, my solution would have worked had you not completely taken the parts that I needed to execute this plan and destroyed them. I laughed at that moment.
Yeah, and the way he looks too. He looks like he's dead inside. It's so funny.
Yeah, like the Surgeon General or just done.
We have another show too, but you're the one that recommended. I haven't seen this yet.
Upload.
What's that about?
So Upload is a bit like The Good Place. I don't know if you've seen it because it's about afterlife, really interpreted from a really creative and comedic view. And it's a lot of future tech. I think it takes place in 2033. So it's like really soon, but what you can do is, I don't want to tell you how they do it, but before you die, they can't do it to a dead body. They can upload your consciousness so that you'll be in this lush, like, paradise of an afterlife. But they're considered apps. So there's like more expensive afterlife apps than others. So it's an interesting view of what life will be like with future tech post-death.
You know what that reminds me of? The Black Mirror episode San Junipero. Have you ever seen that one?
I'm trying to remember. Maybe I have.
So it's the same premise. Is like you're being uploaded by your quote unquote cookie, which is your consciousness inside of this thing. Like a running theme with the whole cookie thing. I mean, it follows two women. One's like a nerd, and the other one's kind of like hip or whatever. And then they're kind of like in the 80s ish. I mean, then you soon realize that they're not young; they're older.
Mm-hmm.
And in real life, they're terminally ill.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like that. Upload, also done by the guy that did Parks and Rec. He's killing it right now. And that one's on Amazon Prime. Upload is. And I would recommend watching it. They're short episodes. And
Rick Daniels,
start.
Right?
Yeah. And you start to, you're like, oh, this is funny. Like, lighthearted. The main character's really charismatic and you like him a lot and things are going great. But then you start to see deeper, darker themes, so it's different from The Office and Parks and Rec where nothing was ever seriously wrong, but here it's like it's heavier.
Really?
Yeah.
Is this the first thing that he's done that's kind of like on the darker side?
I don't know. I don't know, but what he did besides, The Office and Parks and Rec.
I'm gonna find it on
Look
Amazon.
him up. Look him up.
Yeah, this is definitely rated TV mature. 100%.
Yeah, 'cause there's a lot of sex.
Oh,
Sex is very like matter of fact. I don't want to tell you anything else about it, but yeah, they show future sex too. No nudity, but sexual themes.
interesting. I'll check this out after Space Force.
I mean, if you like movies like The Fifth Element or I think it was Demolition Man, with Sandra Bullock, just like that, like what's the future going to be like?
Quick, what do you think the future is going to be like? Because apparently we were supposed to have like fucking floating skateboards and flying cars by now, but we're still kind of boots on the ground.
I'm trying to think. There was something where it was like, oh yeah, it's 2020. That's when this future movie takes place.
Back to the
I was
Future.
like, yeah, I think so. I was like, wow. I guess Back to the Future, I think, missed how isolated we would become and how big the world would become. Like we would no longer we stop shopping in shopping malls. So many things are virtual. Like Back to the Future just thought everyone would just dress different and float on a skateboard. I feel like other sci-fi movies have done a better job. Even Star Trek continues to like unfold.
I don't know where we're gonna be in 20 years. I don't even think we'll be here.
The only thing I think about is the singularity. And yeah, when that will be or if that has occurred yet, I don't know. It's interesting to me. I like biotics.
I was watching a podcast with Elon Musk, and
Yes.
what a fucking weirdo, number one. But two, he says, I don't know if this is true, but there's like implantables that they're working on.
Mhm.
So he says like maybe within like the 5-10 years, we're gonna have things that we could fucking like upload in our heads.
Yeah, so here we are.
And there's a rumor that Apple Glass is gonna be a thing. And you already know when Apple does something, people adopt that shit like crazy.
True.
It's nice now, but Google Glass was a thing. But when Apple invents that shit in like 3 years, everybody's gonna be on that shit.
Yeah, they're the trendsetters.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about. Well, remind them. So, the 15th, 7 p.m. Central, we're gonna be watching Moonlight. This week, we watched Annihilation.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, we watched Ex Machina.
Mm-hmm.
And then previous to that, we watched the entirety of Devs. They're all directed and written by the same person, Alex Garland. So we're going to be talking about that. Where do you want to start? You want to go first to last?
Okay.
So Ex Machina, Annihilation, then Devs?
Sure.
Okay. Where do you want to start?
Ooh. Ex Machina, what a dark film. What do you... I guess I'd like to start with, let's just say kind of generally what it's about. And then I'd like to just talk about what it's actually about or what you think it's actually about. So it's the story of a really, of course, just like mad scientist, pretty young guy, Oscar Isaac, aka Poe from Star Wars. And he invites this researcher to his home slash laboratory and to run the Turing test. And the Turing test is, now correct me if I'm wrong, is a test that we do with computers or AI, where if it's talking to a person, the AI and person are having a conversation, if the person can be fooled that they're talking to an AI, like they're actually conversing with a computer and not a human conscious like being.
If they get fooled if they're talking to a human, but they're actually talking to an AI.
Right. They're unaware.
Right. Yeah. They get duped.
Yeah. So, but it's this strange, skewed version of the Turing test. And they even talk about that, which I think is an important part of what the movie's about, where that's not really what's done, is that the researcher is introduced to the AI as an AI.
Right.
So the way they're going to do the Turing test is, which he should have, he senses red flags like with the NDA, but he should have seen as a red flag that this skewed Turing test, he's actually the subject. Like, how could you not pick up on that? That the AI is no longer being studied, you're being studied because you're talking to an AI. So, yeah, things get real weird.
You also have to understand the temperament of the two characters. So Nathan and what's the other guy's name? Shit. Dylan? No, I don't know his name. Billionaire dude and order researcher guy. Billionaire dude, he's arrogant. He's an asshole. 100%.
An alcoholic.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Like a functioning,
yeah,
but severe alcoholism.
and they're insinuating that he's kind of like the Mark Zuckerberg, right? Like the Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg hybrid type thing, where he goes off on his little island. His little island is a underground thing. It's like an underground research lab. It's not actually his house. It's just, it's very. Would you classify like their interactions as like odd from the beginning?
Yes. It feels like the Turing test is going on between Nathan and the researcher, who's the creator, because Nathan is one of those tech moguls who is a god, like affects culture and how we communicate and what just having an AI that is quote unquote human. That's what a shift that would be, a shift in time there on the timeline.
And we see another character like that very later in Devs.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say a carbon copy, but very, very similar. Caleb. Caleb is the guy's name.
Okay. Caleb and Nathan.
Yeah. So you get the big reveal. Sorry. That Caleb was not chosen by Nathan because he was the best coder.
Yeah.
It's a very meta thing about like data and how safe your data is, and like if you say something that you want a lawnmower, and then like a day later you see ads popped up about lawnmowers. It's very, if you notice it, it's a very weird, freaky thing. What's your data? How private is it? Who knows about it? And who's, basically like mining it, right? So he mined or took a profile of Caleb, and it got really, really, really fucking weird where he was like, did you model the AI Ava's face off of my porn profile of what I like watching? And to me, that's very invasive. And that's where it kind of takes like the dark turn.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like the crescendo of the story, and then it just goes fucking downhill from there.
Yeah, when you realize what it's actually about, that he is he is being manipulated and studied. And also how gross, like he feels guilt, and his conscience is really triggered how he sees how these AI are treated by Nathan, their creator.
Yeah.
How he, yes, is like, I've created humans, but they're objects that he abuses. So
would you feel mad about, say, taking your phone and slamming it against a wall? Not monetary, just how the phone feels.
Oh, no, but I would, my very first laptop, I would feel that way. I was very attached to it because it was awesome to have a laptop when I was at college.
So basically, Caleb falls in love with the AI. Assuming, or he's in lust, or whatever. So the Turing test is passed, right? You would say so?
Yeah, very quickly. I think as soon as she comes around the corner. He's very taken with her. Like, Nathan wanted it to be like there was chemistry in all ways between them. She was created for him.
Yeah, and Caleb had a very tragic backstory. He's basically a latchkey kid. He's an orphan, only child.
Mm-hmm.
His parents died in a car crash. He feels an overwhelmingly sense of guilt because he was the one that survived. So he has that like backstory of like, what if I could have saved them, or what if it was me? And then I guess he gets put in a situation where he has the power to save Ava, which is an AI. She's not real. She's basically I don't want to say Facebook or Bookface or Blueface or Blue Book, or whatever the fuck they call it. She's like the culmination of that, like all those search queries and all that shit. What was your favorite part of the film? I can give you mine.
I remember really liking the music a lot. I think maybe the scene I remember most is, like the dance scene, because it's just so skewed. Like, he's like happy and dancing, and so is this AI that he treated horribly. And so it's just a sick feeling where you're like, no, this is gross, but they're being all happy and just dancing to like disco songs.
It's even grosser when you realize that he programmed her to do that.
Right.
Surprise, surprise, she's an AI as well that can't speak.
Oh yeah. My other favorite part is the AI in the closet. There were how many? 6, 7 before her? She's number 8, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
And Ava is. And he literally said, I expect version 9. So she was about to be, I mean, who knows if that was true or not, but she was going to be taken offline. And he keeps them in his bedroom in this, like these glass inlaid giant cabinets. Like, they look like closets, but he has all of the past models just hanging there in different states of like destruction and incompleteness. And it's disturbing, but I thought that was really cool. I don't know, that scene was very moving. And then when Ava goes in again and we see the AI, and she does a little like consignment shopping.
Yeah.
She picks parts from all the different past models and walks out the door.
I took that part where he said that she was going to be dismantled or destroyed as like fate. Like, what are you going to do? I still think that was part of the test.
Yeah, I think it was fate too. But she was incomplete. There were going to be no more versions.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. You don't think so either?
Okay, either. Hey, co-host, what's up? Either Nathan planned all of this from the beginning for his AI to assimilate into the quote unquote real world, or she manipulated them all. He underestimated the power of what he had created, his creation, Nathan did, because she tricked everybody.
Yeah.
She won. Everyone else died.
Yeah. That's what makes me think that she was complete.
Right.
Because
so it's either
she
or.
made a
Like,
conscious
was it
decision.
bait? Yeah, depending on what I guess your interpretation is.
Yeah, she like enacted revenge on Nathan for torturing her, basically, keeping her locked in the room.
And his past sins,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then Caleb, for being such a fucking cuck for believing her, she manipulated him. And I think she even manipulated the other AI. She basically made her stab Nathan. She was about to die.
Mm-hmm.
She was about to fuck her shit up with the iron bar.
Yeah. I think it's ironic that she had a Japanese name, but his AI that he really just used as like a human fleshlight that could dance to disco.
Yoko.
Her jaw, that was like the final blow, was she was hit and her jaw came off. So it was like, I was like, nice. She was like mute the whole movie. And here we go again. Like, she'll never speak.
Yeah.
They ripped off her jaw.
Yeah, very interesting. Definitely the movie, in my opinion, it focuses on like a tech billionaire that abuses information, steals information from probably millions and maybe billions of people to create an AI that he basically he's basically like a parent to, but like a really shitty abusive parent, and that turns on him.
Yeah, like an alcoholic father.
Yeah, and
that molests his offspring.
Yikes. Yeah, so what his downfall was, he underestimated Caleb because Caleb enacted his plan before he realized what was going on because of the alcoholism.
Okay, perhaps, yeah. Yes. But the big dupe was that he underestimated Ava, because Ava was the reason that that's the point, is that the human is so predictable, like a AI following an algorithm, and Caleb did everything he was predicted and fated to do because they knew everything about him. They were able to easily control him. That's from devs. Remember, if you know one thing, you know all things. So
yes, but if he was predictable, he would have the film wouldn't have ended the way it did because he would have snuffed that right out. But Caleb was one step ahead of him.
Because of Ava, though. Ava was the mastermind.
He didn't tell Ava that. Remember, he told Ava about the plan after the secret camera was implanted in the room.
Okay.
And yeah, it was when he wanted to see like what was up, and he saw all the bullshit, those basically like mirror caskets or whatever. At least that's my interpretation. With Alex Garland, like media, you could interpret it however the fuck you want.
Yeah, what do you think it's really about? Like, yeah, it's about this mad, creator, tech god. It's sci-fi. It's about the future. It's about AI and what it means to be human. But I'm like, what, to you, what is it about?
It's about human desperation, really, because they put a focus on the fact that Caleb was basically a latchkey kid. He was an orphan. He had really nothing to live for. He was basically working a 9 to 5. You saw him in the beginning where he was looking a little bit miserable, and then his eyes lit up when he won the contest or whatever. And he's a nerd, so he gets a nerd boner for Ava. Realizes that this is a Turing test, and he really doesn't give a fuck that she's a computer. And one thing that's telling, and what I think is like one of the most important things that get overlooked, is that he believes that she is human because he goes into the bathroom and he cuts his arm open to see if he's a machine.
Right. That's the Turing test.
Right.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but yeah, that was the moment. Like things turned, and this is the conclusion of the Turing test experiment. Is he doesn't even know if he's an AI or not. Like,
Right.
yeah,
That was the breaking point for him mentally. And then everything fucking falls downhill from there. Yeah, but I think it's about the human interaction with computers, to be honest. Like the desperation of like, what would you do if, you were convinced that AI were like sentient and could have feelings, etc., etc.
yeah, it's akin to like Frankenstein's monster. The
Yeah.
creation of your own destruction. You create a figure, like a representation of the monster within you, perhaps. So,
You have anything else for Ex Machina?
trying to think what I think it's really about, like, or what it's metaphorically could be about. Like, I know that, like, directors and writers will be like, it's not about what you think it is. It's not about like something extra. It's just take it as it is. And so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you sympathized. I I hope this isn't a like cliche, but I feel like it dealt a lot with like women's rights and issues because of all he was just 3D printing out these women, like his fantasy of what a woman is or should be, and then how he would just throw them away, use them and throw them away. I liked it. And I really liked Ava's character too. Just, yes, her not as an AI, but her as an interesting character as a human female. So,
Yeah, Alicia Vikander she's a good actress.
she is.
She's actually going to be playing Lara Croft in Tomb Raider 2. She played her in Tomb Raider 1.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think the first Tomb Raider movie was good, but whatever.
Yeah, she looked good.
That's why you watch it. Okay, so Annihilation was probably the more mindfucky of the three.
For sure. The heaviest, in my opinion. A real slow, dark descent. And a real good just depressing mind fuck. I mean, I thought about it all night. I like couldn't sleep, thought about the next day, still thinking about it. Such a good second watch. I feel like this is his best. Alex Garland's best. So if you haven't seen it, I would watch it, and then I would watch it again. Such a cool second watch.
Yeah.
You want to say just what the movie basic, quick plot line is?
Before that, though, I want to talk about the drama behind it. So this film was basically like an adaptation of the novel Annihilation, but it's a trilogy. And Alex Garland read only the first book of the trilogy, and while it was under development, the rest of the books came out apparently. So this movie is kind of like a loose adaptation of the book Annihilation, but he didn't really. It's like a muddy dream. You know what I mean? Like when you wake up and you remember bits and pieces of things of your dreams. That's where he was coming from when he made this. But this film tested poorly. This was a Paramount Pictures film.
Annihilation was?
Yeah. They thought it was, quote, too intellectual and, quote, too complicated, and demanded changes to be made so that it could appeal to a wider audience. Like making Natalie Portman's character more sympathetic and changing the ending. The producer, shout out to you, Scott Rudin, sided with Alex Garland. He had, I think, a clause in his contract where he had a say on the final cut, which is super important. Read your fucking contracts.
Yeah, own your content, be in control of it always.
Yeah, so Rudin had the final cut and he sided with Alex Garland, and that's why this film was in connection with Netflix. So Netflix was gonna distribute it outside of the United States, I believe, or the North America. Paramount Pictures was gonna do it inside of America or North American region, and it was because of one of the producers, David Ellison, which he's a financier at Paramount, so he's basically the money guy. He was the one that struck the deal with Netflix to handle the international distribution.
Yeah.
And this is why this film came out maybe like 10 to 17 days later on Netflix. And it did poorly in the theaters, but let's just be honest. Society's stupid. So let's talk about this. It's about a meteor hitting, what was that? You would say that that's the South, right?
Yeah, some sort of southeast, because it was swampland. It was a low country. Just the types of native species that they encounter, and just judging by the land. And they say that too.
Yeah. So a meteor hits a lighthouse and some shimmer shit comes out and nobody knows what it is. The government obviously is involved. It is expanding, and everything they've sent in there does not come back out.
And no comms in and out.
Right.
Just silence.
Yeah. There's a couple of films that have been based on this. There's a H.P. Lovecraft thing about this. I forgot the name, but maybe later down the line we might watch some of the films that came out. I think there was a Nick Cage film in 2019 that's like loosely based on it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a weird one. Would you say this is visually appealing?
Yes. Oh, it was beautiful. Yeah. Every shot was really well thought out. And then even just the environment itself, like the shimmer itself, I was like, I would totally enter the shimmer. It's my aesthetic. I want to design my room with the shimmer. Like,
Bring a
yeah.
pumpkin spice latte right in there with you.
Yeah. So what it looks like is, what did you think it looked like? And then I'll say what I thought it looked like.
It looked like glitter slime, like rainbow glitter slime that was like stretched out so you could see through it.
Mm-hmm.
Me at least.
I like that it was like a character in and of itself because like of the way it was presented, when you were introduced to it, when you got to know it better. I like that a lot. But I thought it looked like soap bubbles.
Oh, yeah.
Which I thought, so that's what I thought the entire time. Seeing it the second time, I was like, it looks just like sudsy soap, like in the dish, in like your hand washing dishes. Just you put too much soap in there, or when you blow bubbles, and they all connect, and you can see the rainbows of the light refracting through the bubbles.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I liked it. Which they mentioned that like what say like something that represents soap and where the virus like what
cleansing.
it's a like they call it, one of the characters call it annihilation. They name it annihilation. But yeah, it just reminds me of how soap works, which I've learned about because of the pandemic going on. And just soap is soap, whether it has special stuff in it or not. And what it does to dirt, it just envelops it and annihilates it. So I thought that was interesting. Just thinking of it as a big soap bubble coming towards you.
Imagine being the badass that invented soap. Okay, so my question to you. Do you think the shimmer was a character in of itself?
Yeah.
Not the gooey shit that we get to in the lighthouse later. You would consider the shimmer its own thing? Its own, like, being? I mean, it's not sentient, maybe. Maybe not.
Yeah. I think it definitely was because of how it interacted differently with every character. You could say, yeah, Natalie Portman was the main character, but it was a small cast because then it was just her unit that, goes in to investigate the shimmer and try to find out what happened to the team before them. It wasn't like, say, I do another film. This reminds me of this rolling, being that affects people is Stephen King's The Mist. But I really like that it wasn't just a mist or, The Fog. I think there was a movie called The Fog. Don't watch it. But I like that it was different. It changed. I don't know if you noticed that on the outside, it was really pretty and they dipped through it and they saw these beautiful flowers and like some beautiful creatures. Natalie Portman says that it's beautiful, but then as they get deeper in it, it's still beautiful, but it gets darker. There's really scary monsters they encounter. And then finally the scariest part is the entrance to that cavern, like that dark blue hole.
Yeah.
I don't want to skip ahead towards the end of the movie, but I just really wanted to ask you the question. How much would someone have to pay you for you to crawl into that giant black? Well, no, it's actually not very big. She could like barely kind of squeeze in there and walk through it. Like, how much money would someone have to pay you to get in that hole?
I wouldn't even go into the fucking shimmer. At all. Fuck that. No amount of money.
I could not believe anyone went in there. Just doodly dee, crawl into this comet's butthole. Let's find out what's in the middle. Where's the cream filling? Oh God. Abort. That's the Dr. Ventress. She was like, I must know what's inside. I was like, lady, you're not going to find, some Twinkie cream.
Sounds so nasty. So many levels. Cream filling. Okay. So the film was shot kind of like in a recollection style.
Mm-hmm.
So she'll recount events after the fact. So it's assumed that she survived, but we don't really know if she did. More on that later. The film starts out with her being what would you call her, like a biologist or something?
Yes, she's the film constantly deals with duality and like duplication, like twins. And she was prior a soldier, and then now she's just a teacher, a professor.
Yeah, she's an academic. She's married to Poe Dameron. I mean, Kane. They're kind of like polar opposites, He's like the brute. He's the dude. Fun fact: he shot this on corresponding lots when he was doing The Last Jedi. So he was basically shooting these two movies simultaneously.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a fucking beast. He's a monster. Oscar Isaac. So they give you a little bit of hints throughout the film about what's going on, but you really, I mean, you would have to watch it. You have to watch this movie a few times to get some of the stuff.
Pick up on everything. Like,
Yeah.
you learn what the mystery is. Like, you learn, okay, here's the mystery. And then you learn there's another mystery. And then you can look. Love that he left little breadcrumbs for you to watch on second viewing. Or if you were really paying attention, like, I just don't see how anybody would catch this on first watch. Like, the biggest hint was the tattoo, and it was on the left inside of the forearm, and you had to be looking. Like, anytime you got a flash of someone's bare lower arm, you had to learn to look for this tattoo, because it was a sign that they were already, the shimmer had taken hold, or they had been duplicated.
Okay, so let's talk about what the shimmer does. They give you a hint of this in the very beginning, while Kane and Natalie Portman's character are sitting at the table.
Mm-hmm.
They focus on the water glass, and the water glass is refracted.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means basically is Natalie Portman can be on the left, but her refraction in the glass it looks like she's on the right hand side, pulling her hand away, and the same is opposite.
There's two of both of them, is what it's doing.
Right.
But it's also skewed. Yeah, it's refracted as well. Like, they're reconciling.
I don't think there's two of them. I think personally, let's talk about a little bit of the end of the film. Well, when you're in the shimmer, all your shit's fucked up. Everything. What it's doing is would you say it's morphing DNA? Combining and morphing DNA?
Had this impossible philosophy, which was interesting. Big part of the film. What you learn, a characteristic of the shimmer, is that any DNA it comes in contact with, at first you think, oh, it's mutating, but they're like, this is impossible for interspecies to be crossbreeding, and that's what they think is a cause of the mutations they come across, the beautiful and the scary ones. But then they realize it's not. It's more of a malignant, tumor, is how Natalie Portman describes it. It is taking healthy cells and, bending them in many ways, and even replicating other characteristics it sees, like in other parts of within the shimmer, like how, I don't know.
The croc had shark teeth.
Yes.
But would you assume that there's any sharks in that area? I don't think so.
But it had taken the ocean. Do you remember? Like, it had spread behind the lighthouse into the ocean. And I thought, because there was a quick shot of it when Natalie Portman got closer, and I was like, oh man, I would love to see what's in the ocean.
Yeah, that'd be some fucked up shit.
I wish we could have seen something, but
what basically gave it away that the shimmer was refracting everything, the house that they go into, and this house is part of fucking Nightmare Fuel, by the way. That's the same model of house that her and Kane lived in.
How weird was that?
I think it was on purpose. But
that was really crazy. Just a really chilling moment. But what was interesting to me is how they would show the happy home life. She would flash back to that with seemingly a happy marriage of Natalie Portman and Poe Dameron. So the Simon and Garfunkel song would keep playing. And it was so homey and warm, and they're just enjoying each other's company. It was blissful. The music was so dramatic, like from those scenes then to exploring the new house. And even, as things got worse and worse, it was just like Devs. It was these honking, resounding, clanging tones that would chill your spine. They just knew what they were doing with the music.
Especially at the end, where there's no sound. It's just the music. It's so good.
Well, it's not. I'm like, is that music? It's just like,
It is music, yeah.
burner, burner, and then these long, like, just discordant tones.
Yeah, those were songs pulled from previous music, not made for the film. Yeah, so what I took, the symbolism from the house being inside of the shimmer, looking exactly like that, but being also really, really fucked up, was, and it's, I don't think it's like they ham fist it at you. I think your mind is kind of like other places because at this point someone had already died. So you're kind of like on edge to see what happens next. But this house is really fucked up, and they go back to her having a happy home, happy life. Didn't they? Didn't they show her cheating on her husband?
I saw 2 flashes of that, the same scene.
That was in the house though, right? Like when they were in the house in the shimmer?
I don't remember, but that would be really cool if it was.
Yeah,
'Cause
so
that's where the cheating happened, was in their bed.
right.
And yeah,
And she made
bold.
this like point to like paint the room as if it was going to change anything in the
Yeah,
very
and she got
beginning.
it. She got it halfway painted, and then guess who walked in the door?
Yeah, so apparently it's been a year or so since homeboy went into the shimmer. He's a military guy. And it was assumed that he was dead, but he just pops up towards the beginning of the film. Hey, honey, I'm home.
Back from the dead. Oh God.
But something
He
doesn't
looks
really
like
seem right.
he looks like a moist corpse. Right?
Like Spam? Like he's been preserved?
Well, just his skin is ghostly, pale, like yeah. It's almost him.
Yeah. Let's talk about the monsters. This is a horror film, by the way.
Yeah, I forgot how fucking scary it is. Got me with a jump scare too.
This is not the type of horror that scares me though. I mean, maybe I might have been like a little bit on edge, like a little bit of suspense, but it didn't get me. Even on the first watch, it didn't actually get me. I watched this maybe like almost 2 years ago. Yeah. So the monsters.
Yeah, go ahead. And then
What was your favorite one?
definitely the bear.
I like the bear too. But the crocodile was kind of like the appetizer, you know what I mean? Like the tea. Like they're just teeing it up for you.
Well, because it looked just like they really made a point to show you just like, oh, it's just a croc. They live in the swamps.
I have one more question. Do you think that Kane turns into a monster, or the previous like fire team that went in there? Because they saw the video.
I don't know.
I think they do.
Okay.
Because they don't know that she was married to Kane. That was not disclosed when she went into the shimmer with these. I think it's like what, 4 of the women?
Yeah, I think it's a team of 5.
Yeah. So they see this video of Kane cutting up one of his squad members, and you see his intestines basically moving like a snake inside of his body. And it's assumed that these people went fucking nuts at this point. All right,
Either all of them were being affected and going crazy, or they were killing each other, one by one.
Because if something's fucking with your DNA, right, you could assume that it's fucking with your mind too. Like your mind is like decomposing basically.
Well, it is because they walk into the shimmer and then blink, and then Natalie Portman's waking up out of her pitched tent like 3 days later, completely unable to remember what happened the first 3 days. They don't even know if it was 3 days. It could have been weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. That was weird.
Yeah, they do a really good job of chopping it so that we, along with Natalie Portman, are on this like being yanked around like you're on a teacup ride. Like just here we go around this way, whoop, and it just like yanks you another way real fast.
You know, it doesn't feel like Man of Steel editing either, because you can go back and you have Benedict Wong talking to Natalie Portman about the events that happened, so it kind of like grounds you in reality on like what happened and why is like it gives you some context of what he's asking about.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't feel like sporadically edited like a fucking fever dream, which I like.
Yeah, there is a little bit of like narration and a touchstone of to where we are. Like this, we're gonna learn what happened, and we're gonna get back to this point.
Okay.
Which is the tattoos, yes, are an infinity symbol, which the tattoos appear on your forearm once you've been completely taken over by the shimmer. You've gone, or you've been duplicated.
What do you think that means?
What, the tattoo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it looks like an infinity symbol, but then on closer look, it looks like an Ouroboros, which is a weird word. But that's a snake eating its own tail, and that's centuries old, thousands of years old, like from other cultures, and it means a lot. Like it's like the cycle of life and death, like the idea of maybe an eternal soul, or maybe something darker, where a snake eating its own tail. Geez, that's a dark image. I liked it.
Self-annihilation.
Like, self-destruction. That was a common theme. That we shouldn't age. Like our DNA is created to not break down, to not decay. Like we do in life. We get old and die. But Natalie Portman says at the beginning that it's a like mutation. It's a fault in our genes what causes the aging. So I thought that was interesting. I like it.
All right, so let's speed it up. So Natalie Portman obviously wants to go in there to see what had happened to her quote unquote husband inside of there. The main girl,
Dr. Ventress, Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yeah. She is dying from cancer. She is 31. Yikes.
Yeah, I want to talk about the women. Yeah.
Tessa Thompson is in this as well. She's kind of like the botanist, she's tech person.
Yeah, she's like a communications expert of some type, but her flaw, like the I don't know. Her flaw, I guess is the right word, is that she cuts, she self-harms.
Yes. More on that later. Nina Rodriguez's character, she's I don't remember what her thing was.
She's an EMT, but she's also a recovering addict.
Right. And you could assume that EMTs they can't deal with loss very well because they're desensitized to death. They've had people dying on them. They've seen people dead, gore, etc., etc.
Like she says, I've scraped people off streets. Like, yeah, they're on the front lines of human suffering.
Right. And then Sandra, Cass or whatever, she says something so profound, which I think it was one of my favorite lines of the film. Her daughter died of, I think, leukemia or something like that. And she basically proclaims that was not the only death that happened that day. She says that she died herself, like she died inside. So she was basically there to, whatever. She had nothing to lose. She lost her daughter.
Yeah, all of these people, for some reason, had nothing to lose.
Right. I think that's why they were picked. That's the same, like, thing of, like, Caleb in Ex Machina, because, he had nothing to lose. So, Cassandra gets bodied first. She gets absolutely devoured by the bear. Nightmare fuel ensues because the bear now has her death, like, sound.
Yeah, her screams and cries as she was mauled.
Yeah, so Gina Rodriguez loses her fucking shit because she's seen the video of Kane cut up in that dude. She realizes and takes the little necklace of Natalie Portman and realizes, oh shit, the dude that cut this dude open is a boyfriend, husband, or whatever. So she decides to tie everybody up. She basically, huh?
I'm sorry. Something about that is very early. Like I think when they're watching the movie on the memory card of Kane cutting open one of his teammates, we see her forearm. And that's what I wanted to ask you is when did she get taken? I missed it and I don't know when it happened. It happened in between finding the memory card and at the croc. Like, did it happen at the crocodile? I just didn't
I would have
know
to
when.
rewatch it, but
Yeah.
it didn't happen to Natalie Portman's character at that point. She had a bruise at that point.
And they made a point to show her forearm that she was still in control. I think that was the purpose of that moment. Like, oh, I have a bruise, scratch, scratch. I don't have a tattoo like Anya does.
I don't think it signifies that in my opinion. I think that little infinity sign or Ouroboros or whatever you want to call it, I think that's how much you're affected by it, like how much you're
I think when you're gone.
I don't know. Maybe.
What I wanted to talk about is why Kane and Natalie Portman's character walked out of the Shimmer. You know, well, versions of them did. Why weren't there other versions of Josie, of Anya? Why did Cass, I think her name is, get eaten by the bear? Anya too.
Why were they selected?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's willpower, right?
But yeah, I guess
Because leader whatever her name is, she gets to the lighthouse.
Dr. Ventress or Lena?
Ventress,
Yeah.
She gets to the lighthouse and she's
First. Yeah.
on some like Left 4 Dead 2 witch crying in the fucking corner type shit, which really creeped me out.
You don't see her face. You just know it's her because of the blonde hair.
Yeah. And she basically, I guess, submits to it. Like, she basically just like gave up.
But like Anya died fighting. Josie submitted to it. Would you say Lena submitted to it? But Dr. Ventress definitely submitted, like was overcome by it. Like, why did those other characters get destroyed, eaten, mauled, death? And Natalie Portman survives. Like, yeah, it's amazing they walked out of there.
I think, honestly, it's willpower because Cassandra girl kind of had it coming for her. I mean, she really was there to die, to be honest. Let's be honest. Ventress too as well, but she needed to get to the lighthouse to see what it was. And then as she got there, she basically like, let everything go. She wanted to be the first one there. She accomplished her prophecy, and then that was it.
She wanted to know what was in there.
Right.
She found it.
And Josie, basically, I don't know. It was that's why I wanted to talk about. She was a cutter. You mentioned that, and when she basically gave up, when Gina Rodriguez's character died, and Anya died, and Ventress went to the lighthouse. She booked that shit. She was gone.
Yeah, she left them. Yeah.
The I guess leaves or whatever were coming out of her cuts, like her scars.
Yeah.
And that leads me to believe that like it doesn't affect everyone in the same way, and your willpower has some type of like effect on it, because she didn't want to go on anymore. She said it. You want to fight it. The other one wants to. What did she say? She said fight and something else. She said I don't want to do neither of those things. She basically submitted right then and
Oh,
there.
she said, what did, we're trying to find the Shimmer's intention. Why is this alien life form alien? Because it came from outer space. What is it? What does it want? And, it's like, oh, you're wrong. It's not to destroy. She kept making the point that it's like it has no will, it has no purpose, but what it does is it refracts everything. So that's what I was really interested in, is how each of these women, based on who they were, like a psychologist dying of cancer, a communications expert that self-harms, an addict, that's an EMT, a soldier scientist, duality, who was cheating on her husband, and the husband found out and went on a suicide mission. And then I don't remember what Cass's role was specific, like what she did. I think like weather and atmosphere or something. And her daughter had died of leukemia. So it was just interesting how each character was so specific. Like they were each their own. I like that a lot. Like there were a lot of women in this movie, and he made each one unique and gave them a good little backstory. But then I just wonder why they died the deaths they were, or, they were affected by the shimmer in the way they were, how they became refracted. Like if there was any symbolism in it, or if it was just random.
This is just me, but I think Cass died first because she honestly had nothing to live for. She said that she was dead inside. She went first. How she went? She got snatched by the bear at night, right?
Just quick rant.
Mm-hmm.
The quick rant, they find a military base. They decide to camp in the mess hall. They find out what happened in the military base. The team prior fucking lost their shit and cut each other open. And they find this crazy dead body, mutated. Just what, a real horror of what the shimmer will do to you or can do to you. And they're like, we're not fucking staying in this military base. So they climb up like a guard tower that's really high off the ground, seems very safe unless there's like pterodactyls or some shit. And all of them come out of their little safe camping spot in the radio tower and are just bear bait, right? Like, so yeah, they're just going to get picked off. They're like, what's growling out there? Sounds like a bear. Let me just run into the darkness towards it. Like, yeah, she wanted to be annihilated.
Yeah. She had no reason to be down there. I think that's why she went first. I think the EMT went second because she couldn't handle the death of the first one. Mm-hmm. Very meta. That's why she got fucking mauled by the bear. The bear eventually died. Right?
I think it affected her because she was an addict. So she was living, it was like she was high, like she was having a really bad trip. She was really having a hard time grounding herself, like touching back to what was actually happening as opposed to, like what she was seeing with her eyes. She couldn't reconcile with facts and reality, which I think, that's what happens when you take drugs, especially hard drugs. So
yeah, she was manic, right? You consider her manic at that moment?
Yeah. Yeah, or just having a complete breakdown.
Yeah. I think Josie gives up. She just submits.
For sure.
And that's it.
Yeah.
She turns into a little leaf person.
Mm-hmm.
Natalie Portman's character. And I keep wanting to call her fucking Veritas. I don't know why. Ventress. They both get there. And then we get the realization that Oscar Isaac's character might not be Oscar Isaac's character that came out of that place.
Yeah, but we knew that. The like walking corpse.
You never know. I mean, the first time I saw it, I was like, something's definitely wrong, but I didn't know like anything about it. But yeah, so he basically kills himself with a phosphorus grenade. I think that's where he kind of lost. And at the very end, you want to explain the end? What happens?
Yes. We see on camera Oscar Isaac has a clone. And then Natalie Portman hears this woman's voice down this dark blue hole in the wall of the lighthouse, goes down there, finds Dr. Ventress saying part of a poem about the unfathomable mind and how, and it's like something like now beacon, now sea. So it's like she found the beacon by the sea and found the unfathomable mind. Like, you think she regretted, reaching her goal? Like why did she explode and self-destruct in this like beautiful energy fantasy?
I think that was the center of it all. And they said that the mutations get stronger the deeper you go into
right.
the shimmer. So at that point, yeah, she was so far gone. She may have like, gotten interconnected with the being or whatever it was, or the shimmer. I don't know if.
Well, I think it's for saying what, like, yes, Josie's like, it refracts us. Like, it's what you guessed, Lena. Like, I was right? And then with Dr. Ventress, though, she calls it an annihilation, where it will rip every, cell apart until there's nothing left, which is actually impossible, in the physical world. Matter cannot be destroyed. Like it.
Yes, it can. Cancer destroys cells. Cancer is self-annihilation of the inside.
No. It's a law of physics that, yes, but those cells become cancer cells. Your old cells just don't poof. Like nothing goes poof and cease to exist. It becomes some other matter.
Right.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Like,
yeah, but can't you don't see the you don't see the similarity though? You just said that cancer infiltrates your cells and it doesn't poof, but it becomes a cancer cell. So it's changed.
They do describe it. Yeah, matter can change, but matter cannot be created or destroyed. But within the shimmer, matter was being destroyed, annihilated, and recreated. Yeah, the doctor says that when we reach the unfathomable mind, the center, like the ground zero of this anomaly that is overtaking Earth, and it's inevitable. So,
yeah, but wouldn't that vision or idea of like what's normal be different to whatever this thing is that's changing it? Maybe it's normal for them or it.
I just thought that was a cool moment, like her saying we're being annihilated, because that's impossible in the world we live in. Like, we cannot just be ripped into smaller parts. Like, we still cease to exist, just at a molecular level.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those films that you could take this any which way you want. It's very ambiguous. It's very weird and abstract. Very abstract ideas.
Man, so my favorite part was the annihilation we witnessed through Lena of Dr. Ventress, the psychologist that had cancer. Ironically, this anomaly is described by Lena as a cancer, by Josie as a refraction, and then by Dr. Ventress as an annihilation. So just seeing the psychologist go mad, and then watching how she was annihilated, it was such a beautiful process. Just these amazing, like this light show we saw. Do you remember those magic eyes that it was like third grade for me. Everyone had them, you'd like cross your eyes and hold them really close to your face.
Yeah.
So that's what this was like to me, just the like 3D physical magic eye. It was cool.
Yeah, visually, this is the Alex Garland with a very sizable FX budget.
CGI was so cool.
And you want to know a really fun fact?
Mm-hmm.
Not this film, but Ex Machina won, I believe it was Best Visual Effects.
Cool.
On a $15 million budget. But this one had a $90+ million budget. Never made it back. So yeah, my favorite part, or one of my favorite parts, was what you said with the whole magic eyes thing and the explosion or whatever. That scene, that whole, from that point on to, I want to say maybe it's like 2 minutes, 3 minutes or so, you don't hear shit. You just hear music, and your brain is like, whom, with the music in your head, and you're just watching it unfold. It's like a car accident. You can't look away. It is so good. And yeah, blood goes into this, what would you call it? The Dr. Ventress splooge. And
Lena's head. Yeah, it was like a weird like black hole, like a mini black hole that looked like an iris of an eye. And so Natalie Portman was staring right into the glowing orb of the, pupil of the iris that was before her. And a piece of blood went from her forehead into the center of the eye, creating a new Natalie Portman clone.
yeah, but big thing about that one, right? Obviously, it was refracting her movements. She shot it and it went upstairs, and it was refracting her movements, but it didn't turn into her until she touched it.
Well, through me, sorry, from my perspective, it reminded me of like, how all these series you watch, even cartoons, will have like Through a Mirror Darkly episode, like a Bizarro World episode. And that's what this was to me, is she met her Bizarro World twin that was her, but not quite her. And I don't think that mimic that is made from her DNA was a refraction. I think it was a true duplicate, because it was her. It was like an improv class, they're like, they do those mirror like exercises where you stand facing each other and you act like you're each other's reflection in a mirror. So that's what it was like.
Here's what throws off that theory for me. When you're pushing something, right? You're trying to push open a door or something like that, or pull open a door. The opposite effect of that would be for you to push. So she was trapped on that door trying to get out. I don't know if it was a push door or a pull door. Whatever she was doing, it was crushing her. So she couldn't get out, and then she eventually passes out, falls on the floor.
Yeah, I thought she died. I thought it crushed her lungs, her ribs, her skull. I think it did crack her head a little bit, just based on how disoriented she was.
Yeah, when she finally got up. Yeah, and the end of the film basically is her taking a phosphorus grenade. I don't know how the fuck that survived, and it was next to Oscar Isaac's corpse. But she basically puts it into the hands of the mimic as it's like morphing into her physical features, like her actual face or whatever. Very good CG on that, and it blows up. But people don't know if that's the actual real Natalie Portman that escaped.
Right. A switch occurs somehow. Just like a quick slide of the hand happened with Anya being taken. Like she got taken at some point. We just don't know when. Like Natalie Portman switched places with her clone. We just don't know when.
Right. I don't know. And at the very end of the film, when they are reunited, her and Oscar Isaac, they have this thing with the eyes. The RGB eyes. Both of them. So is she?
It looks like the eye where Natalie Portman's blood dripped in, the like human 3D printer.
Yeah. And then when the shimmer died, he was fine. He woke up. But when he was outside of the shimmer, like, what is it? I don't even know what that means.
I think meaning that Natalie Portman wouldn't have been able to walk out of there unless she had done the phosphorus grenades. So I think now that we're talking about it, I think what I realize is a switch did not occur, in my opinion. Natalie Portman was taken and then was able to walk out of the shimmer, like because she had the tattoo on her arm. I think she really did kill that that other like weird alien clone being that was holographic and mimicking her, like her mirror self. I think that finally got destroyed, which maybe Lena died. Lena owed Kane, her husband. She's like, I owe him. That's why I'm doing this. And thus the debt seemed to be paid. She discovered what happened to him and saved his life by destroying the shimmer. So I don't know. It's just Lena killed off old Lena that day.
I think what I think is very similar. I think that she did kill the mimic, but she has the shimmer inside of her.
Mm-hmm. We know because she looks at her DNA under a microscope. So yeah, I think she survives. Like that's really the
She's
Lena
not
that walked
her.
in. Right. She's like Josie. She got taken like Anya.
She's the
like
opposite of Oscar Isaac. Oscar Isaac is Oscar Isaac on like a physical and molecular level, but mentally he doesn't know. He doesn't know any of the infidelity or any of the problems that they had. So essentially they have a clean slate. But Natalie Portman knows, which is
True.
weird.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a happy ending. I enjoyed it. It is like a 2-hour film, but it doesn't feel like 2 hours. It's an easy watch.
I like how they chopped it up too, because it would, we're told like there's a shimmer, got to make it to the lighthouse. That's where the comet hit. We've had no success reaching the shimmer. So it's a pretty simple plot. Like, like how I was ragging on Armageddon, like there's a comet. We got to go save Earth from a comet. Just very simple. But then again, like, what is this movie really about? Like, it's not about a comet hitting a lighthouse.
No.
Would you argue it's about Lena, or is it about all of them? Like, is it bigger than Lena? Like, what does it say about us as humans and how we evolve or lack of evolution?
All right, this might be long-winded. I think it has like some societal implications. Something comes in, it's foreign, it's an alien, nobody knows, it's growing, so they send people in. And nobody knows anything about it. And the people that go in, you could assume that similar things have happened to the previous team that went in. There's no communications out, there's no communications in, they don't take any photos, they know absolutely nothing. So when Lena's getting interrogated, for all intents and purposes, she could have just fucking butchered everybody and called it a day. They don't really know. So I think this is a metaphor for change and how it affects different people.
How people can change.
Yeah. How people change, how people react under pressure, under adversity, meaning the shimmer, very metaphorical thing. It's a closed bubble. You could also make an argument that this is about cancer, which is, I've read online, people think it's about cancer and how the mimic is kind of like annihilating the cells and switching them and changing them and et cetera, et cetera. That's a big theory.
Yeah, like cancer has no consciousness and thus has no malintent. Like it doesn't know how evil it is. So thus this alien being has no intent.
Yeah.
It just exists and it landed here and here it is. What does it want? Nothing.
It's just changing things.
Want? Yeah.
Is it changing things so it could be, closer to home? Is it changing things just for the fucking fun of it? Or what? Nobody really knows. You don't get that closure. I don't think you ever will, if that were to ever happen in real life. But
yeah, on the the quick take, little surfacey is I agree. It's about how people change. Yes, but I think it's also about the bigger theme is that people there's different versions of yourself. Like just how the women's characters were written and showed, like I said, like the psychologist that's dying of cancer and also like is on the suicide mission and has then like a complete breakdown of the brain. I just think it's about how these people had many facets to them, just like the shimmer was faceted. Like, you could argue, I think, that Oscar Isaac and Natalie Portman, I keep using the actors' names with the characters' names interchangeably, but Lena and Kane were just versions of themselves. Like, nothing died. Just the old selves were annihilated, thus leaving behind what we see at the end.
Which is kind of like a happy ending, right? They both have the shimmer in them.
They hug, like they did not hug when he got back.
Yeah, because it's assumed that he knew about the infidelity.
That's why he left, yeah.
So all that negative connotation in his head, or what was in his head, is gone. And you could assume that he wanted to kill himself because he couldn't live with that anymore. So he let his doppelganger leave and said, "Go." What did he say to go find Lena or something like that?
Now go find Lena. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's assumed they had a conversation, maybe. So he knew what Lena was and he knew how to get home. So go figure that one. But yeah, I think it's a very complex film. All of Alex Garland's stuff has like multiple ways you can interpret it, multiple ways that things can be seen. There's a whole bunch of like ambiguousness about it that it makes it fun to talk about, and you could just rant about this shit for hours and hours. I don't even think we're gonna be able to get to devs because this is almost 2 hours.
I know. I was like, what do we want to say about devs real quick?
But I mean, we could say something about devs that basically, do you enjoy? We'll boil it down to this: do you enjoy Alex Garland in a 2-hour feature film, or in a 8 to 10 hour series, where he could flesh things out a little bit more and have a little bit more nuance?
How can I choose between devs? You know, it's like that was a TV show and a movie. Like I said, okay, we'll just take it as is. Where Annihilation is his best work, in my opinion. Just the layers and how heavy it is, and the themes and the characters. Like how many fleshed out characters he had working in sync. I just think it's the best. So perhaps I enjoy him in a 2-hour movie better.
One final question. Do you think Annihilation could have worked in it as a mini series?
Sure. Yeah, they could have wandered around in there for sure till the conclusion. Yeah, like a procedural show.
I think so too. But want to call it there?
I do. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. Sorry these episodes are marathons, but if you're still listening, thank you so much. And as always, you can give us feedback in my Discord or even on Twitter, and we appreciate you.
Yeah, you could figure this as like a 2-parter. You know, it's like almost 2 hours long. We didn't really do much last week. It was like 8 minutes and
True.
46 seconds. So yeah, we had a lot to catch up on. And we did talk about 2 movies, to be fair. So.
Yeah, and man, Annihilation is so dense. I could not wait to talk about it.
Yeah, I think we spent a lot of time on that one. But again, thank you for if you got to the very end. I will drop a code for a Steam game on the YouTube video on the screen right now. If you grab it, thumbs up. I don't know what game it is. It's on Steam. You're welcome.
Just for you.
Yeah,
Thanks for listening to episode 29.
Later.
Bye.